Brooklyn Independent Television.
So my name is Neel Murgai, and I'm a sitarist, composer, frame drummer, overtone singer. I actually started out playing trombone when I was a kid in high school, and in college I studied civil engineering. I was born in Poughkeepsie, New York, but my family comes from India, from the north part. During my college days, I was a radio DJ, and I hosted this international music show. And that really set me on the path that I'm on now. And immediately after I graduated, I went to India and I lived in India for 16 months and studied with Ravindra Goswami, living in Varanasi, India. And that was my first immersion into classical Indian music. That twangy kind of sound with the buzz, that's called jawari. Jawari means to give life, actually. So the bridge is actually giving life to the sound. And that's what's so special. It makes it really rich in overtones. You know, there's so many strings, there's 20 strings actually. 13 sympathetic strings that I can play with my pinky nail. And then 7 main strings. Nikhil Banerjee is my favorite sitarist. Ravi Shankar, of course, is the most famous sitarist. And he certainly introduced a lot of people to Indian music in the West. So in my daily practice is Indian classical music. But you know, I am influenced by so much music from all over the world. And especially a lot of jazz and experimental music. And so I like to incorporate that in everything I do. The classical music of India is raga, and raga means that which colors the mind. I guess when I compose, often I can take an element of a raga or a tala. Tala is the Indian rhythmic system. So I often take these kind of Indian rhythms, which are very mathematical, and I try, set some melodies and try to create textures which musicians can use to improvise off of. In creating my own ensemble, I decided I really like the sound of the Western string instruments. They're kind of a amorphous sound. They can create so many textures. The cello and viola I like particularly, and they're not associated. You don't immediately think of a culture when you hear that. Unlike sitar, although that's kind of a goal of mine, is to make sitar kind of more universal and less exotic. My favorite part of the music is when we're all improvising together and we really have a group dynamic and always creating new things. It's kind of like we're a quartet, sitar, tabla, viola, and cello. And it's kind of like we're passing the energy around. Sometimes one person will take it for more of a solo, but then my favorite parts are really when we're all kind of lifting it up together. Over the course of my years as a musician, I have wide-ranging interests, and I've ended up picking up frame drumming, starting with the Persian daf. This drum here is like a 22-inch frame drum. And the Egyptian tar, another frame drum. So one composition of mine I called Interplanetary Revolution, and I based it on planetary frequencies. And you know, planets can have many frequencies, electrical, geomagnetic frequencies, but the simplest one, like for the Earth, once per year, one revolution around the sun per year. And you convert that into cycles per second is how we measure our sound frequencies. And you put it into my vocal range, the audible range. And I did that for a number of planets. And then so I composed this piece that kind of using overtone singing and kind of droning through the planets.
Become a fan on Facebook, like Brooklyn Independent Television.